are so many Indians flocking to Canada to become truck drivers?
Canada needs them to, quote, drive truck.
We need 700 young people to work in our factories, in our hospitals, in our shopping centers, driving truck. Driving truck.
It's time to go!
A few months ago, this exact same protest was staged by Indian students in Manitoba. They were demanding the exact same right to stay in Canada, which they don't have, by the way, and to be granted an extension for their postgraduate work permits. Of course, what did the federal government do? They acquiesced to the demands of these international students and granted them a 2-year extension to stay in Canada. Now, do any of you really think anything different will happen with these students in PEI? I wouldn't bet on it, because on Friday, Immigration Minister Mark Miller told journalists that one way to solve the massive surge in temporary residents living in this country would just be to make them all permanent residents. I wish it was a fake story. I wish it was published in the Babylon Bee, but no. It was published in the legacy media. Wouldn't it be great if Canada had some politicians that actually opposed mass immigration, that actually stood up for Canadians who are suffering under this immigration experiment? Now,
Prime Minister of Canada.
We want values! We want values! We want values! We want values! We want values!
It's international students in particular that have grown at a rate far beyond what Canada has been able to absorb.
In fact, they are now staging protests against provincial and federal governments over new rules which make them ineligible for postgraduate work permits and permanent residency. It really makes it clear that many of these students never really came to this country with the intent to study. They obviously all came here to get citizenship in Canada. Take a look at what is happening in Prince Edward Island right now. Students who have no right to stay in Canada are now trying to stage a province-wide walkout protest against the provincial government to demand rights and residency in Canada. Wow, what are all those Prince Edward Islanders going to do if there's no one to pour them Tim's coffee for a day? The horror.
So what are the results of this mass importation of unskilled big truck drivers?
You're fired.
Minister Sarkaria and Premier Ford can also comment on that. Ontario is the only province where a visitor can take a commercial truck driving license. And we can't say nobody knows it, everybody knows it. Why can't we ban that visitor? Because many of the accidents we see on the highways, this may be one of the causes that untrained drivers are on our highways.
Thank you for the question. And obviously, major issues are ensuring that safety on our highways, and something that we are absolutely going to be taking very seriously, reviewing all of our commercial licensing as well. And I know you've brought this up in the past as well before. First and foremost, we want to make sure from the comments with respect to any individuals involved on whether it be Service Ontario or Drive Test in any criminal manner, that will be investigated fully, and we will cooperate with if it's the police, our own internal ministry, to ensure that any sort of fraud is handled immediately. Visitors in this province or would be illegal to drive without a work permit. So absolutely, if there's any loopholes there, we'll definitely be fixing those and making sure that should not happen and cannot happen.
I can't.
It's time to go!